Like many people, I'm a people watcher. When I see a conversation or I hear a snippet of something that someone said, I wonder what's going on in their heads, what that motivation might be that led them to that particular outburst, what their partner might be thinking. And that's a very natural way of interpreting the world. It's almost, if you like, as basic as seeing things in colour or seeing things in 3 dimension. We tend immediately to get to the heart of what's underlying a behaviour. Why are they doing this or thinking this or saying the other? And for children as well, they've quite quickly come to understand that you're only joking when you say that you're going to gobble them up, for example. So if we take the traditional tale of Red Riding Hood, the children will often love the fact that they know that it isn't Granny in the bed with the big eyes and the big teeth and the big ears, but Red Riding Hood seems oblivious to this. And that gives them a sense of being on, if you like, a privileged footing over this story character.
Psychologists developed the false belief task as a way of learning about children's theory of mind. In one version of this task, we show children a short story involving 2 characters. One of the characters, Andy, places a toy in one location and then leaves the scene. And while he's gone, another character, Sally, comes in and moves the object to a different location. When Andy returns to the scene, we ask the children to predict where he's going to look for the toy. To pass the test, the children have to be able to distinguish between where they know the toy is and where Andy believes the toy is.
Most children acquire a theory of mind somewhere between their 3rd and their 5th birthdays, although there's a lot of individual differences. You will get children who can pass much earlier than their classmates, say, perhaps because they've got siblings or there's other things that help them to understand pretense and jokes.
One of the interesting things about theory of mind is that culture seems to play a role in the development of children's understanding of other people's thoughts and feelings. We know from several other studies that children in the UK, for example, outperform their peers in Japan and Italy, different countries. We were interested in understanding why this might be. We decided to test theory of mind in a sample of 3 and 4-year-old children, both here in the UK and in Hong Kong. We had over 120 families come into both sites. Alongside doing these measures of theory of mind, we asked their parents to complete a short interview describing their child to measure mind-mindedness.
So what makes someone mind-minded? For some, it's the relationship quality. So if you have a very close relationship with somebody, then you probably do know exactly what they're thinking and feeling at that moment in time. For others, they see it as a reflection of their culture, of their educational background. We have different ways of thinking about people in different communities. In Confucian societies, where what matters is very strong norms of behaviour, you don't really have to think about how somebody is feeling. You just do the right thing because that person is an elder or because that's what this situation calls for. So there are norms that you can behave in the right way without actually thinking about thoughts and feelings. So perhaps they matter less in some societies than in others. Well, if you ask 2 parents to describe their children to you, one might give you a very warm and positive answer, but it doesn't really get into the child's thoughts, feelings, where they are inside their heads, whereas the other answer might be more neutral in tone, but is really spot on in terms of what the child is thinking or feeling at that moment. And so that answer is an answer that we characterise as high in mind-mindedness. We're not really that interested in how much they talk, we're more interested in what they focus on. So do they focus on physical or behavioural or very general attributes of their child, or do they tune straight into what their child is interested in and cares about and is worried about, and moving into those sorts of mind-minded comments? There's a lot of research with infants and preschoolers to show that when parents are more mind-minded, the children are more likely to be securely attached and more likely to develop cognitively, perhaps ahead of their peers. They'll get those milestones a little bit earlier, so it's obviously something we'd like to encourage.
We found that there are really striking differences between children in the UK and children in Hong Kong in terms of how they did on our tests of theory of mind. The British children did a lot better on these tests than the children in Hong Kong. Likewise, we also found that the parents in the UK were much more likely to describe their children in terms of their thoughts, their feelings, their desires, than the parents in Hong Kong. This means that the parents in the UK were more mind-minded than the parents in Hong Kong. We also found some interesting cultural similarities. In both cultures, we found that parents who were describing their children in these kind of terms of their thoughts, their feelings, their desires, were much more likely to have children who did better on the tests of theory of mind. And we believe that this difference between the two cultures might explain why the children in the UK are doing better on the tests of theory of mind than children in Hong Kong.
So I think our results are interesting and important for both parents and teachers. So for parents, it was interesting that in both cultures, in the UK and in Hong Kong, we found that parents who were more mind-minded had children who were doing better than their peers on these theory of mind tasks. And I think what a parent might conclude from that is the importance of being able to tune into how your child is thinking or feeling. So there's a little mnemonic that I learnt when I first became a parent, which is HALT, H-A-L-T, and that's a reminder that if your child is hungry or anxious or lonely or tired, it's probably not the right time to put into play whatever threatened disciplinary action you were thinking about. And for teachers, well, the study really originated in an invitation that I had to go to Hong Kong for a conference on play. And we know that contact with other children is really important for children's ability to think about other people's thoughts and feelings. They really care about what their friends are thinking and feeling. And so a little bit more of an opportunity for play might help children across the world get to that social understanding that little bit earlier.
Dear world, yours, Cambridge.